Hi, welcome to this video tutorial for Discussion Board Forum number 1. For this assignment, we will look at how developmental theories connect to or conflict with our worldview. Just in case you're not familiar with this term, let's talk for a moment about worldview. Your worldview is made up of the assumptions that you live by. Your worldview answers questions like, where did we come from? Where are we going? What has value in life? Does truth exist? And if it does, whose truth is true truth? My worldview is based on the teaching found in the Bible and on my relationship with Jesus Christ. Because I hold this worldview, everything that I say or do is affected by it. Thus, my view of the world is colored by my belief system. You need to understand that whether you're studying psychology or any other discipline, influential writers and thinkers base their theories on their worldview assumptions. So that brings up a good point. Always remember that there is a big difference between a theory and a law. A law is an idea that is true under any and all circumstances. Think about the law of gravity. No matter what I believe, if I step out of an airplane, the law of gravity takes over and I will fall to the ground. But theories are different. They are not universally true. So when I encounter a theory, I have to look at it carefully to analyze it and see how it measures up to my core beliefs or worldview. For example, one idea that presents an interesting dilemma is what a theory might say about human nature. Is man basically good or bad? My worldview tells me that at my core, I'm a pretty rotten individual. And without the redeeming work of Jesus Christ, I have no hope of becoming a truly good person. So if I encounter a theory based on the premise that we are all good, I have to reject that because it doesn't line up with what I know to be true based on my worldview. So for this assignment, we are going to look at the major developmental theories found in Chapter 2. There are 5 theories presented. They are the psychoanalytic theory, behaviorism, cognitive theory, the sociocultural theory, and the universal perspective, which includes humanism and the evolutionary theory. To help get you started on the right track, we have prepared a worksheet which you'll find in the Week 1 folder under Reading and Study. As you can see, the major theorists are found on the left side of the chart. The information provided below the chart should be filled in the corresponding columns. I'll do a quick demonstration to get you started. Let's look at the theories first. Behaviorism is first on our list. So if I look at behaviorism in our textbook, located on pages 42 and 43, we see that John B. Watson was an important figure in this movement. So I will type in, or I can copy and paste, behaviorism, and I'm going to paste that here next to Watson's name, and we can take that bullet off so that it fits a little bit better. So Watson, J.B. Watson was a theorist. His theory was called behaviorism. Now let's look at what behaviorism said about the nature of man. And it just so happens that the correct answer for behaviorism is here on the first line. Watson said that mankind, or man, is a blank slate that can be trained to be or do anything. So I'm going to copy that statement. I'm going to put it here in what is man. Now, if you are the kind of person who learns best by writing things down, you're also welcome to print this worksheet out and fill the blocks in by hand, or you can do it just like I am here by copying and pasting. Finally, for behaviorism, we want to think about what would a behaviorist say is the most influential force related to human development. So we know that behaviorism is sometimes called the learning theory. In here we have the word learning. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to paste it. Okay, so the theorist is Watson. Theory is behaviorism. Watson said a man is a blank slate that can be trained to be or do anything. And he would have said that the most influential force in human development would be man's ability to learn. So that is how you use the worksheet. So here under additional materials, you'll find the answer key. So do your best to fill the chart out. And if you want to check your work, you can open this document and check your work and make sure that you have the answers correct. So after you've filled out that worksheet, which will not be submitted for a grade, that is just to help you organize your thoughts, you'll look for elements that might be impacted by one's worldview, and then tell us which theory fits best within your worldview, and tell us why. Once you begin writing your post, it's important to understand that these discussions involve communicating an informed opinion. So don't just write about what you think. Be able to support your ideas with information you find in our textbook. To do this, you will need to include at least one in-text citation with every post. If you've never done this before, don't worry. I'm going to show you on the next slide exactly how it's done. There are two essential elements that must be included in every citation: the author's last name and the date of the publication. You can introduce the information with a signal phrase that contains the author's last name and then follow it with the date of publication. This is called an in-text citation, or you can use a parenthetical citation. Here the citation is placed at the end of the paraphrase statement. Notice that we have still included the author and the date of publication. And always be sure to place your ending punctuation after the citation. Now let's see what this looks like in a discussion board forum post. This is an example post for you to look at so that you can see how your citations fit in with the text of your discussion board forum post. Number 1 gives us an example of a properly formatted citation for information we find in our textbook. You see I've included the author's last name and the date of publication within the parentheses, and the citation is followed by a period. Number 2 illustrates the use of scripture, which is paraphrased rather than quoted word for word. Notice that I've included quotation marks before and after and included a full citation, which has both the chapter and verse. Finally, number 4 is my reference entry. Let's look at that in detail. Remember that every post must include at least one citation from our textbook and a corresponding reference entry. The reference entry includes the following elements: the author's last name, the first and middle initial if they are both used in the book, the date of publication, the title of the book. Notice that we use italics and only the first letter of the first word is capitalized. We've included the edition in parentheses. We have the location of the publisher, city, postal abbreviation, a colon, and then the publisher's name with a period to follow. If you copy this exactly, you will get full credit for your reference entry. This is the grading rubric. Please be sure to compare your work to these criteria before you submit your posts. And now, before you submit your post, don't forget to edit your work. Here are a few ideas that may help in your editing process. First, write your post in Microsoft Word and use the spelling and grammar check. After you correct your errors, read your post aloud, checking to make sure each sentence makes sense. If you finish your work early, you can even submit it for review to one of our tutors in the Online Writing Center. After you post your initial thread, you'll be able to read through the forum and see what your classmates and/or your instructor have written. After reading the initial post, choose 2 for which you would like to write a response. For this discussion, your reply post should identify ideas from within a classmate's post with which you agree or disagree. You'll want to tell why you agree or disagree with them, and you must include information from our textbook to support your ideas. Remember that all discussion board forum submissions must include at least one citation from our textbook and a corresponding reference entry. That means your initial post must contain at least one citation and a corresponding reference entry, and each of your reply posts must contain at least one citation and a reference entry. Here's an example of what your reply post might look like. Notice that I've included evidence-based ideas. I've included citations here and here, and a corresponding reference entry. Finally, please don't forget about the university's late policy. Remember, if you submit your initial post after 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, you will not receive credit for it. If you submit your reply post after 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, you will not receive credit for them. A good way to avoid last-minute emergencies is to plan on posting early. Instead of waiting till Friday night, for example, try to post Thursday instead. This concludes our video tutorial for Discussion Board Forum number 1. If you have any questions, please contact your instructor.